pleased to be joined here at the World Oil and Gas Week by Tabrez, Director at the Oil and Gas Transaction Practice of EY. Hello, Tabrez.
Hi, Charlotte.
Thanks for being with us today. Now, tell me about the work you are doing in your team to help companies ride out of the storm we are currently witnessing in the sector.
Well, Charlotte, my job is really to help companies buy or sell assets or companies. It's also to raise private capital for them. So in the current market, we are working on a wide range of transactions, either that is raising capital or it is buying or selling companies or assets for our clients.
And have you witnessed a significant increase in the number of transactions that companies are doing?
Yes, what we have seen is that a lot of companies are privately looking at transactions. A lot of these transactions have not closed yet, so a few deals are in the market. We're working on a number of those transactions. They haven't closed yet because there is still a difference between the price expectations of the buyer and the seller. And companies are increasingly looking at creative structures and also potentially how to bridge that gap by looking at transaction structures and partnership structures.
Would you say there's a degree of denial in the industry among some of the upstream players in particular?
I think that'd be a sweeping generalization, but we have seen that a number of companies are still looking to ride out the storm that we are currently in. Having said that, a lot of the companies and the mood here that we've seen is that companies are now readjusting to the current oil price environment. And they are saying that it's no longer, the outlook is no longer that the oil price will come back like that. The outlook is that the oil price might make a modest recovery, and companies are realigning their strategies with that outlook. So there is a level of realism, and frankly, a lot of them are thinking about how are they resilient in the current market.
And resilience, I suppose, implies having a clear and well-defined strategy at the moment.
Yes, I think resilience means different things to different people. What we have been advising our clients is how are you resilient financially, how are you resilient with your strategy, and that could involve multiple aspects of your business, and how are you resilient with regards to operations. So those three key streams we've been advising our clients on what could they do to be resilient.
A tendency in the upstream sector at difficult times like this in terms of the pricing environment, it's to look at offloading assets. Now, is that the right thing to do, and what should they consider when they do it?
Well, I think that could be a reaction. What we are telling our clients is to look at their strategy and their structures. And by that, I mean, with regards to a structure, you could look at your capital structure, you could look at your project structure, your partnership structures, and then look at how does that fit in with your own strategy and your long-term ambitions. And we're asking them the question of what do they want to be famous for? In the current market, I think we've got to readjust with the current price levels, but then create a long-term strategy that works with the current prices, but has a long-term view. So companies are looking at whether they should be selling or buying in the current market. And we've seen a number of transactions, both on the buy and the sell side.
You've mentioned partners. What should companies look at when they're looking for partners?
Well, the first thing needs to be a meeting of minds, because often we go into the market and talk about, or we're ready to talk about a partnership or a sale. I would almost start with what kind of partner do I want to work for? What characteristics do I want to see in my partner? Because I have a long-term vision for my business. So it's defining the partnership that you want to formulate, what the objective of that is, and then that will decide who you approach, as opposed to we're open for a transaction, come and talk to us.
Another key theme, I suppose, at the moment for the industry is raising money. It's difficult to do it on the equity markets currently. So what would you advise on that front?
Well, the equity markets are rightly or wrongly not available for upstream companies for a little while. I think it's the kinds of capital that we're seeing is private capital, and we're raising capital for a number of companies. And the landscape is different on who's providing this capital, whether that's private equity, or it's sovereign wealth funds, or it's family offices, or indeed some traders. Sometimes we have seen sellers provide capital for a company to buy, and that's quite unusual. So the landscape of investors today is changed, and that's what's changed in the last 12 months.
Now, Tabrez, you have been attending the World Oil and Gas Week for several years, I believe. What about the mood this year? Are you seeing a change?
Yeah, I think everybody has sort of adjusted to the fact that the oil price is not going to bounce back like that. So the mood is one of realism. The mood is one of how do I survive as a business? Do I have to look at my costs, and do I have to restructure my organization or cut my costs? Many different ways of doing that. But there is also optimism in there is a long-term game, and the optimistic view is how do I align my business with the longer run, in the longer run.
Tabrez, thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Charlie.
Tabrez Khan, a director at the Oil and Gas Transaction Practice of EY.